A lot of people, when they follow a diet, they do it consistently, then they get the results, they start seeing results, and it ends up being okay, well, let me go ahead and celebrate. That celebration turns into a 10-day binge or a 20-day binge, and then overall, it makes it harder to get back on board to following that diet. Makes you forget how good the diet was for you, how you got the results on that diet, and understanding that it shouldn't be a diet mentally anyway, it should be a lifestyle. What's going on YouTube, TR Fit fam? Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time, go ahead, do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff now. This ain't coincidence. This is not a coincidence. You've seen the page for a reason. Let's get it. With that said, if you've seen the title, you know what this is about. Should you have a cheat day on carnivore or meat and fruit diet or any diet of that sort? But we're talking about the carnivore and the meat and fruit diet specifically. Should you have a cheat day on it? I personally heard a lot of mixed reviews with this. A lot of people have their reasons. I'm not going to get into their reasons. I'm only going to talk about myself from my own personal experiences from other diets, as well as these specific diets, the carnivore diet and the meat and fruit diet. And we're going to go into, should you have a cheat day? My answer is yes, and it always will be yes. And I have three reasons why I say yes, you should have a cheat day on the carnivore and the meat and fruit diet. My first reason is sustainability. Both the carnivore and the meat and fruit diet are both elimination diets, meaning you can't eat certain things if you're following this diet, which is okay. That's perfectly fine. The good thing is both of these diets take away cravings just from what you're eating. Just from consistently eating steak, fatty steaks, it takes away a lot of the cravings. Trust me, I know from experience. A lot of the cravings that I used to have in the past from a balanced diet, I didn't struggle with those challenges like I used to on the regular. I didn't have a desire for sweets. I didn't have a desire for a lot of things just from following this diet over time. Obviously, it didn't just happen overnight. Following it consistently, it eliminated a lot of the cravings. Meat and fruit diet as well. Adding fruit made it so if I had a sweet tooth, I just would eat a little bit of fruit and that will go away. So the elimination part of the diet isn't necessarily a bad thing, but what about if you do have a taste for something like pizza, putting a bun on that burger, or things like that? Having a set and organized cheat day will make it so that's not an issue, and making it a part of your normal routine makes it a lot easier to maintain and follow. I do something called 6 in 1. 6 days I'm following either the carnivore or the meat and fruit diet, and 1 day I'm doing whatever I want to do. Simple as that. My second reason I say you should have a cheat day is it prevents you from going off the rails. What do I mean by going off the rails? A lot of people, when they follow a diet, they do it consistently, then they get the results, they start seeing results, and it ends up being okay, well, let me go ahead and celebrate. That celebration turns into a 10-day binge or a 20-day binge, and then overall, it makes it harder to get back on board to following that diet. Makes you forget how good the diet was for you, how you got the results on that diet, and understanding that it shouldn't be a diet mentally anyway, it should be a lifestyle. But because you took cheat day out of the picture, you're making it harder and harder to follow the regimen. Now, instead of following the meat and fruit diet or the carnivore diet for the right reasons, you're now fighting yourself against other foods because you're so hell-bent and stuck on following this diet so much to a T that you're panicking and don't know how to have a good relationship with any types of food outside of the meat and fruit diet. My last and final reason, I have more, but we're just gonna stick to 3 for now, is it gives you a reset. And those kind of all tie in together. But what I mean by it gives you a reset is if you know you have 6 days, only 6 days that you have to stay consistent, and then that 1 day you can celebrate, kind of like game day or kind of like payday. After practicing all week, you finally have a game. After working all week, you finally get paid. You have something to look forward to celebrate. And if you're doing that right, especially for a payday, you get rewarded at the end. If you're practicing good, you get a chance to win a game. And this all leads up to that game. A cheat day is the same thing. You schedule it towards the end of the week, and because of your hard work on following the regimen, you get to reward yourself. The only reason I would say someone shouldn't do a cheat day is if it's truly health beneficial for you not to do a cheat day. There's no reason to put yourself at risk for diseases or putting yourself in a position where you're going to be possibly in the hospital if you're eating the wrong things. So if that's the case for you, it probably makes sense for you to stay away from processed foods or any other foods that we shouldn't be eating on the regular. Living a healthy lifestyle today, especially in America, I don't know where you guys are, but especially in America, it's very hard to stay consistent when you drive 2 minutes down the road and see a McDonald's, a Burger King, Pizza Hut, Papa John's, all of these things right across your view instead of just prepping your own food, cooking your own food, and sticking to the script. It's hard to do. It is what it is. But with the same thought in mind, those foods are there to be exactly what they are. Something like to tickle your taste buds, give you like a reset, like a perfect example of a reset. That's all it is. So with that said, knowing that those foods aren't meant to be consumed on a daily, if you're doing everything right for those 6 days out the week, then that one day it shouldn't do much damage. But what I will advise is to understand your body. Now know if you can handle a cheat day or if you only need a cheat meal. There is a difference between the two. One's a little bit more enjoyable, one's a little bit more loose, and one's a little more strict. If you are on your fitness journey and you're trying to lose weight on these diets, probably don't need a cheat day, probably need a cheat meal. If you're someone like myself, you may be able to get away with a cheat day just for the simple fact that you're already at your goals necessarily and you're just on the verge of maintaining and staying consistent. Ultimately, if you can't handle a cheat day mentally, then you probably need to work on yourself a little bit more and understand that it's not about dieting. Food shouldn't have that much of control over your life to the point that you can't handle taking a break from eating certain things. Discipline. If you don't have the discipline, you may be dealing with something a little bit bigger, might need to seek a little bit more help. Nothing wrong with therapy, and there's nothing wrong with diving into the Bible. But to wrap things up, there is absolutely nothing wrong with a cheat day, in my opinion. Like I said, I heard a lot of mixed reviews. I heard a lot of different perspectives on this, but this is just from experience, from training a lot of people that got results doing the exact same thing, following 6 and 1, and then starting back over on the next day. And when it's all said and done, results speak for itself. We can talk about what you should and what you shouldn't do. At the end of the day, you need to find out what works for you. Well, that's all I got. Do me a favor, do the YouTube stuff. Like, share, subscribe. Y'all know the drill. Outside of that, if you got the food part down packed, or this is being helpful for you, but you need a little help on the exercise side of things, come see us. Click the link. I'll leave a link below. TR Fit Club. We have an online program as well as an in-house gym, but we keep the same energy in both places, at home, in your crib, or in the gym. We get results. Other than that, y'all know the drill. See y'all next time.